Hi everyone, this is Luke. Before we begin the video today, I'd just like to note that during the recording, an unusual bug caused parts of my recorded voice track to infrequently freeze and then resume fractions of a second later, resulting in the final audio recording, including some oddly truncated words and throwing off the timing at times. If the conversation seems to overlap in places or my speech has some odd blips, please excuse these problems. I have, in editing the video, attempted as much as possible to restore the flow of conversation to normal, so the content is largely unaffected, but I thought it was noticeable enough to warrant a little editor's note at the beginning of the video. Thanks as always for watching, and now, on with the show. Hello there, you two.
Oh my god.
You're looking
Look
lovely
at this
tonight.
place.
We're in the zombie apocalypse. Where are you tonight?
The Zombapoc.
It's Dying Light. This is Welcome Back to Serious Sunday.
Tis!
Today,
Yeah.
we're talking about zombie games. And what better zombie game than the zombie game that also taught you how to do parkour? That's how these games work, right? You learn how to do parkour when you do it.
That's as I understand it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, I
sure
physically
I know how to do
It's getting
cannot
bad.
do it, but
Okay.
I know how. Pull yourself up.
Hey, guys.
What's up, John?
I might have pissed off a bunch of zombies.
Why did you do that?
Fun, mostly.
Well, I mean, there comes a point in every zombie game where you have to piss off the zombies.
Yeah. Well, kill the most zombies.
Oh,
There's a
shit.
competition thing. Yeah, I mean, like, the zombie horde is... Oh, Jesus. Is obviously, like, a major zombie game trope, right? But
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez,
you guys
okay.
made a lot of noise.
this was ill-conceived.
It is a major trope.
Yeah, well, I was just like, shanking zombies, so I don't know
But
what
it's
that's
kind
all
of
about.
important to have a horde.
What's with this happy motherfucker? Ah! Come here.
Hardcore
Come here.
zombies. Oh, right. You run out of stamina in this game. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, zombie game tropes. Obviously, the massive zombie horde. This is a running zombie game where at least a few of the zombies are athletic and fast.
Don't they start running at night?
Well, that guy was certainly...
No, but I mean, like, as a whole, they start running at night.
Yeah, they get much worse at night, which is another sort of major standard zombie trope.
What I like about this one, I think what this one adds to the genre of these games, because, oh my Christ, there are so many. I think what this game adds is, well, aside from the parkour, they do the crafting quite cleverly. Oh no. I need help.
I'm punching zombies with my life.
Please help me.
Not quite sure how.
Why am I always the first person to
landed
die
on-
in
It's
this?
been a long time since any of us have played this game, so
Yeah, this is just more for...
this is background noise, really.
No, but this one adds the very unique sort of crafting system.
Yeah, the whole crafting mechanic thing that was so popular, or that was sort of recently popularized.
It is kind of a trend right now, isn't it?
Damn, I'm down too. Yeah. Pissing the zombies off, it's a bad choice in this game. Telling you what.
Oh, fuck. That is madness. She begged for her life. It's like she gained some sort... Oh. That was terrifying.
Lost 800 survivor points.
I've never seen...
We should really be more careful.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, this game did some very interesting things with a lot of the sort of zombie tropes. You do have to deal a lot with sort of helping survivors. Matt, if you die, you can get back to where we are, and it's relatively safe here.
That's cool. Dying's for losers,
Shut up.
though, guys.
That's true. Both of us did.
Besides, I have a coffee and a wrench now, so you guys can go blow. But I see where you are. I can get to you. Don't worry. I'm not afraid. I'm very afraid.
Don't tell them.
Anyway, yeah, keep riffing.
Like
zombie games.
Yeah.
This did some interesting things, like that moment where you're attacking a zombie and they stop and they start begging for their life.
Again, that's not a zombie. We've been through this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you weren't fighting a zombie if that's what
we were through this last weekend in the downtown area. We've been through this. That doesn't mean they're a zombie. I cannot keep covering for you.
That's still the that's the zombie that killed you guys. Trust me, she was a zombie this time.
Okay. So
that was awesome. I've never seen that in a zombie game. It was awesome.
So I'm thinking that, like, okay, Dying Light, right? It's an iteration on the zombie game. So I'm thinking here's sort of your progression for as far as zombie games go. By no means was it the first, but earlier zombie games, of course, being a game that we played on the show before, good old Left 4 Dead, right? The cooperative group zombie fighting game where you run around on a map and you have to basically just get from point A to point B without dying in the process. Right? Very simple, just oh jeez, you're not hostile, you're just John.
That's like the most offensive thing anyone said to me in a long time.
But you're not hostile?
Why can't you be a peacenik?
I didn't say you're not a threat. I said you're just not hostile.
Hi, zombies.
Anyway, so yeah, good old Left 4 Dead, right? Where your main job was to get from point A to point B in sort of tight, well-controlled maps up against large groups of zombies. Some of them which were reasonably overpowered, sort of special guys, right? Not necessarily overpowered, but powered up, right? And then you have games that sort of move forward with that a little bit by sort of opening up the world just a little bit more. I think Tripwire's zombie game, what was that one called? There's a sequel released recently for it. You know the one I'm talking about?
No. No. What? I mean, I probably do, but I don't.
What is it? Explain it again.
It's a game by Tripwire where you fight against large hordes of zombies. It's kind of similar to Left 4 Dead, except it's just wave upon wave of zombies in a more sort of
Dead Island.
No, I was going to move on to Dead Island afterwards. Dead Island is a Deep Silver game.
Yeah, I just don't recall.
It'll come to me soon. But anyway, so yeah, the first big sort of progression, the big plus one for Left 4 Dead was opening up the map a little bit more, giving people more ideas about where they can go, or just more options of places that they can go. And then the next big step that I saw really was in Dead Island, which John mentioned just a moment ago, which is say that in that game you had a massive open area. Well, you had a couple of massive open areas, actually, if you got past the first sort of resort area. They got progressively difficult, and there were those special zombies. So it definitely took a lot of cues from both Left 4 Dead and a game whose name escapes me, but I'll definitely look it up.
I mean, I don't think there's a lot of question that Left 4 Dead was genre changing when it comes to zombie games, like the way we...
Undefining, right? It kind of created what people sort of expect out of the modern running zombie games, right? There's not a whole lot of these types of semi-competitive zombie games that use Romero zombies.
Right.
I can't think of many at all.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
You guys? Actually, Dead Island...
With the slow zombies?
Yeah, with slow zombies.
The slow guys, right? Like the shamblers. Yeah. Like, even now, after playing so much Left 4 Dead, I'm afraid to jump on cars for car alarms.
Yeah, I mean...
And that's good, right? It conditions you to do these things. And after a certain point, it becomes sort of so second nature to worry about these things that you don't feel put off when those are presented to you in a new game, right?
Well, it's true.
Like some of these games, Left 4 Dead, like what it really contributed to the zombie genre, aside from basically just going, hey, here's how you make a first-person shooter into a zombie game, is it's basically special affected zombies, right? And co-op play, which is... do you guys think of any like co-op zombie games that came out before Dead? Because they're all co-op games now, right?
Resident Evil?
Yeah, I mean...
Resident Evil was never really co-op. Resident Evil is a good argument for the pre-Left 4 Dead game.
Resident Evil became co-op post Left 4 Dead, though.
Oh, God.
It's true, but I mean, that's just like, you know, one game leads into another game, and the master becomes the disciple becomes the master.
I'm gonna
right?
die.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. I really don't know if I'm... Knives are just not the right weapons to fight zombies with.
No. They're slashing weapons. What the hell?
No. I really should be using my hard weapons. Like I have... Yeah, I lost 800 more points. I have a wrench. I should be using that. And actually that's kind of cool. Like, and that's something that they also explored in Dead Island as well, was that the different types of weapons had different sort of efficacy, and you would fight humans and you would also fight zombies. When you're fighting a human, you want something stabby and slashy, right? When you're fighting zombies, usually you want a brute force blunt object that you can kill people with.
Yeah, I mean that's
with more appropriately.
To me, like when people talk about what makes a zombie game, because sometimes there's zombies in games and you just don't count it as a zombie game, like Call of Duty Zombies or.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, Call of Duty Zombies is definitely a zombie game, but Call of Duty itself is not a zombie game. There's just a zombie mode in that turns.
Well,
into
I mean,
zombie,
it's
right?
But it's not really. It's just putting zombie skin on things. I mean, and also I should say a spin. But it's not necessarily.
Yeah.
A good zombie anything should be more about people than it is about zombies. Right? That's the whole point. Zombies just are a representation of. Well, any number of evils of humanity and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're effectively scary without having to do much.
Yeah.
Getting some work done on the map here.
Are you actually doing questing?
Oh, I'm just kind of wandering around, doing my best to stay alive. I just love exploring this world. It's
Oh no, the world of Deadlight is astounding.
Dying Light.
I'm a big fan of what they've done. Dying Light.
Although Deadlight,
Deadlight is an existing game, which is also a pretty decent game, but it's it's a zombie Metroidvania, which is something that's also very interesting to talk about at some point. But let's go ahead and sort of table that particular game for now and just chalk it up to me being able to simple word changes.
It's okay. I feel like it's kind of my fault because I was the first one to make that mistake.
And then I just latched right
ever since
onto
I did. Yeah, you did.
Oh, who died?
Survivor died.
Right, because you're supposed to save people
that we were supposed to save.
See, I love zombies, like the whole zombie mythos, the whole of it. I love it. It's great. This game really it stacks up quite nicely.
Yeah.
It feels like it comes in somewhere between Left 4 Dead and 7 Days to Die, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And 7 Days to Die. I mean, we're gonna have a lot of things to talk about as far as 7 Days to Die is concerned. But like 7 Days to Die, it took the zombie game into sort of the opposite direction that this one did. If I might make that assertion. So Dying Light, I think, is a +1 off of Dead Island. Right? Because you have the massive open world, and you have the exploration, you have the weapons that you craft, and the weapons that inexplicably break just so fast. Like, if I have a lead pipe, that lead pipe should last me a long damn time. Not in a zombie game. Goodness, no.
No. Lead, metal.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't know that I necessarily
I've always felt like that
agree.
simulated, like, losing the weapon or dropping the weapon, like, over time and whatnot.
Like, I would prefer if they gave me Butterfingers and actually made me drop my weapon. And, like, have to think about, okay, do I want to stop and pick this up when there's a shit ton of zombies around me? Like, that would feel less disingenuous than the way that they do it right now. Which is like, hey, I've got this knife, I stab people 3 times and it's gone. I have a lot of experience with this, but it feels like that's not how this would work.
People.
You know?
I bet OJ's wishing that now.
Oh, Jay.
Yeah, that's super topical.
It is super topical. They found a knife on his friggin' property buried.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, see, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
That is topical. See, I'm thinking about back when I was in high school and the OJ like car chasing thing like that was happening.
Yeah,
referenced
I remember
in
that.
a recent episode of Just Cause 3. Go watch it.
Go watch.
Yeah. Stop watching this video right now. No, don't do that. Watch this one and then go watch that one.
Stop this immediately and then go watch that.
Why are you still
And then
watching
come
this?
back
What's
to
wrong
this.
with you?
What is
But
wrong
yeah,
with
so
you?
Dead Island was the one that created that problem, if I might call it a problem, where it's like, yeah, here are all these awesome craftable weapons, but we don't want you to use just this. We don't want you to kind of rest on your laurels and get comfortable using one weapon for a long period of time. Instead of gradually ramping up the power of your weapons and forcing you to kind of think of which weapon be best suited to what situation, it's like, we're just going to break it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Gone. And I mean, that's absolutely what happens in Dead Island. And now in Dying Light. Dying Light was like, yeah, that happens. That's the way that it goes in these kinds of zombie games. We're going to do that too. I found you. Hello.
You did. Hello. Yeah, absolutely.
But there you go. And then you have another game which uses the exact same kind of mechanic, but does it also in a different genre. So, yeah, Dead Island plus Mirror's Edge equals Dying Light.
Well, yeah.
Dead Island plus Minecraft equals 7 Days to Die.
Seven Days to Die kind of has to be on this list, but
yeah, I mean, it's a zombie game, right? Its major premise is that you're in the sort of the zombie apocalypse, and you're in this this world where you're basically in the zombie apocalypse reality show where you're on this place, and they're constantly throwing crates at you with overhead buys, and that's the only reason I can possibly think of to reconcile why these things happen.
yeah.
But, like, who cares about the lore? It's a zombie game, right? Half of the time, you really never even find out why the zombie thing happened.
That's what I liked about Left 4 Dead. It
Yeah.
just never ever bothered.
Speaking of which, actually...
Well, most people would never know, right? Like...
Yeah, I misspoke. The first game to make ridiculous... Like, every weapon is made of paper would be... on the Nintendo 360, one of its launch titles, good old Dead Rising.
I had forgotten about Dead Rising.
And its various sequels. What's that?
Did you say the Nintendo 360?
No. Did I? Xbox 360. My bad.
What? You ain't never seen
I probably
Nintendo
did.
360 before?
Actually, I was waiting for you to... is it going to be a Nintendo game or an Xbox game?
Yeah, no, Dead Rising.
Dead Rising, yeah. Dead Rising.
Yeah. It introduced...
You
didn't do much crafting of weapons until Dead Rising 2. And I believe Dead Rising 2 came out actually before Dead Island. So I'm not going to say
that was the big,
had the idea first, or maybe it was kind of like... There's another game that was doing weapon crafting, and everybody was like, this is an idea, we should totally do this.
Guys, is that sun going down?
Yep. It's almost sunset.
Certainly
yeah, we should probably find a safe place, huh?
I mean, we can.
Well, I mean, we're right beside the
Yeah,
goal,
this is a safe area, right? We can go and hide in there if we absolutely to, but that might also initiate a cutscene, which we don't really want for this video. We're not here to actually like play the game. We are here to just sort of give you a backdrop while we talk about zombie games. We just chose this one. I mean, we could pause talking right now and go straight to Left 4 Dead. It wouldn't matter. We won't, but we could.
We won't.
Yeah, that's more work than we're willing to put in. Because we are that YouTube channel.
Definitely.
High production values, half-assing it 24/7.
All right.
But, yeah, so Dead Island set a couple of precedents. Or Dead Rising set a couple of precedents. Dead Island turned it into, more of a sort of open world, a lot more ways to do certain things. Dead Rising was a tighter, sort of more controlled experience, I think, than Dead Island was.
Yeah.
I mean, albeit, that said, I mean, you could have done whatever the hell you wanted. It was also, I think Dead Rising was the first zombie game where they're like, yeah, you could just chill out here for 48 hours and then go home. We're never going to say you lost the game because you didn't do what we told you to do.
Yeah, that is true. That did present it, the open sort of...
And it's entirely possible. Like, they say you have 48 hours left. You can sit there for 48 hours and the game will end. The guy will come pick you up in his helicopter. And it'll be over.
You'll have missed the point.
Well, I mean, you'll be...
But you will have gotten an
You'll
achievement.
be a QA guy, probably, right? It's like, well, can they actually do this? But, there you go. That's just a thing. And so, yes. And that takes us to this, like, Dying Light, like 7 Days to the most modern zombie games. Is there anything else, like, in the immediate past that is changing the zombie?
H1Z1.
Okay, so the zombie MMO, DayZ and H1Z1. And I guess to a lesser extent the War Z and stuff like that.
Apparently they've split H1Z1 into 2 games.
Yes, they have, and that was interesting news, right? Like, do you know what specifically they're doing with those?
Yeah, one is going to run basically a PvP situation.
Okay. Like, I don't know, I'm not super well informed about where H1Z1 is going. H1Z1?
One's basically going to be a combat game, one's going to be a survival game.
Right, but PvP game, is it going to be humans against other humans in a zombie context, or are they just stripping out the zombies?
I think it's humans against other humans with a zombie flavor.
Okay, and is there going to be humans versus zombies things going on? Like,
I'm not sure.
Or will there be human-controlled zombies, which was another big thing that Left 4 Dead did, and a lot of other games kind of didn't do afterwards for quite a while. Now, this one, as a major DLC upgrade, added I think it's just called Be the Zombie mode, right? Where one player plays like this super zombie, not even really a zombie, like a mutant with it's a licker basically from Resident Evil, right? But it's damaged by ultraviolet light. His job is on the group of survivors who are parkouring around and trying to complete objectives and kill it. Then you have
Right.
And then there's the zombie MMOs. And I played DayZ a little bit. Like, I had a friend with me who who had bought DayZ at the same time I did. Well, bought Arma 2 and then the DayZ expansion, because I think that's the reason, like, 90% owners of Arma 2 bought Arma 2. Not to say that, like, Arma 2 isn't an astoundingly good, like, realism-based military shooter, but I think that Arma 2 DayZ really sold it.
No, it's market life.
And that's a big thing. Like, as people continually say, and I think they've been saying since like Left 4 Dead 2 came out, that people are sick of zombie games, right? They've seen enough of them.
I don't think that's true at all.
No, people have been saying that.
Yeah.
It's not true. You're absolutely right. Like, people want, like, reviewers, I guess. You were actually a games journalist around the time that, like, the zombie boom was, like, majorly going at the time. I know that you were mostly an MMO guy at the time, and this was before zombie MMOs, quote unquote, came around. But
you get a lot of journalists that talk about how it's, how it's lazy and how it's overdone and everything else. And when you dig down deeper, though, they usually haven't played many of them, right?
Sure.
They just see sort of or they'll be, one of the games that they'll quote to you will be Plants vs Zombies, which, okay, fine, but not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nothing to recognize current trends and make a comment on it.
Yeah, it's a game that contains zombies. It's not a zombie
and the
game.
appeal of it for developers is, there's lots of them, but one of them is it can be defended as not being human-on-human violence, which is, I think that falls in it makes it fall into the fantasy violence category, as opposed to.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there's fantasy violence, and there's some interesting rules. Like, actually, I was the guy that was in charge of doing submissions to Sero when I was a game developer in Japan. And the conditions for your violence rating, basically, what would get you the difference between a C and a D rating, was things like, obviously, like decapitation and so on. And if you get a D rating, it's like basically adults only type games, right? Whereas if it's a zombie, then it doesn't technically count as a human, so you have a lot more leniency as to what you're allowed to do. So that's absolutely a ratings thing. Or, like, zombies give you a lot more leeway as far as ratings are concerned. So there's absolutely that, and I think that's a very valid point as far as here are some reasons to make a zombie game. But I also read this interesting sort of sociology paper, basically saying, we are afraid of zombies because it is too close to the self, but still alien, right?
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I'm talking about? Where it's like you have this thing that is a person or was a person, and it looks like a human, and it acts like it's like a human to a certain point, but it's feral, and it can kill the living shit out of you, and it doesn't.
Honestly, that's why I was surprised earlier in this game when the zombie had a moment of clarity. It was attacking me. It stopped.
I have to see your video. I'm gonna go back to your video and I'm gonna look at that. I might even like freeze frame right here and replay that.
It was crazy. I was attacking the zombie. I had my wrench up and I was beating on it, and it stopped for a second. It was bloody. It had the red eyes, and it just stopped and went, "No, please, no."
Nice.
And I
haven't seen that before, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing.
Well, and there's the whole plot of this one is the antizin, right?
It's true. This is a game where it's like there's a TV tropes thing, I think, that's called like the Z word, right? Where it's like in zombie games and zombie movies, nobody's ever heard of a zombie or a zombie game or a zombie movie except the shows that, like, the movies and games and stuff like that really want to lampshade that. But yeah, like, nobody calls them zombies, and most of the time, like, because there are so many zombie games, they look for an excuse not to be zombies. So, like, they're the infected, or they're humans who, have come. They don't even necessarily say that these are people who died. They could just be sick.
Well, that was more the tack in, like, the later Resident Evils, wasn't it?
Yes. I think Resident Evil 5 was the first one that straight up did away with zombies. It was all cultists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe 4. Was the one that was on the Wii?
Yes. Resident Evil 4.
Or, no, the GameCube, sorry. It was pre-motion control, but it was a Nintendo console.
Resident Evil 4 was one of my favorite zombie games. Resident Evil 4 was one of my favorites. Sorry, the wrong emphasis. I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
I had a blast with it.
What was it about Resident Evil 4 that sort of set it aside or set it apart from the other zombie games for you?
It was the first. I mean, I hadn't really played a zombie game. I think it was around the time I was playing Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
But you know what it felt like? It felt like a cheesy horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
The guys were scary in the same way a cheesy horror movie is. And when that guy comes out with the chainsaw and cuts you in half in the town.
Yeah, Leatherface, basically, or Jason from Friday the 13th 2. Yeah.
He's terrifying. And when he comes out and he actually delivers on his promise to chop you in half.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that was Were there zombies in 4? I stopped playing the Resident Evil games after Code Veronica to be completely honest.
They were cultists.
Yeah.
But they were sick cultists.
Right, yeah. They were definitely rabid, but they weren't necessarily zombies. But it was established as a zombie genre game series, right? So it doesn't matter if you're fighting zombies, you're fighting zombies.
Yeah.
N'est-ce
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's true. But yeah, I think the one, I mean, John and I put hours and hours
oh my God.
Left 4 Dead. Days, weeks.
Yeah.
It's in the hundreds.
I played a fair
hours.
amount of Left 4 Dead. Probably not as much as the two of you, however.
I mean, Left 4 Dead 2
great.
was
And
the
I
superior
enjoyed-
game in every way.
Well, yeah, it iterated on Left 4 Dead and made all the right choices, right?
So much so that it's now like there's no point in owning Left 4 Dead.
Right.
It's
well,
Left 4
if
Dead
you
2
own Left
has
4 Dead
everything.
2, you own all of the game content of Left 4 Dead 1, plus melee weapons and new shotguns and new like AK-47s and stuff like that weren't in the game originally. And spitters and jockeys. Were those the two? Those are the two new ones in Left 4 Dead 2. Were there others? I know that they changed the
Chargers.
What? Chargers. Chargers were new as well. Yeah, so like they
Chargers
doubled
are
the special infected, because it used to be basically witches, boomers, smokers, and hunters. Parkour zombies, which was right back around Dying Light. But
And
yeah,
I'll tell you, I really enjoyed playing the zombies in that too. That was fun.
They did sort of solve PvP.
Special infected was the main reason to play PvP, and it wouldn't have worked without them, right? So it's like, here are your zombies, but the zombies are not. Whoa. Okay, so here are your zombies, but if you want to play one, we're not going to make you just be a shitty shambler that's going to die the first time somebody swings a wrench at you.
Yeah.
I'm going for it.
Well,
Woo, I'm gonna die. Let's see how long it takes.
Crap. Okay, my video is saying warning, high encoding.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. You're just going to be a little bit choppy.
It'll be choppy. I can see it's choppy.
Yeah.
It's chopaholic.
Yeah,
I may have been chopaholic all the way through.
I won't worry. Well, I wouldn't worry too much about it. My video's been reasonably sharp. We've got John's video as well. And people, I mean, this is basically a podcast with a video backdrop, right?
That's true.
So
That's true.
It's a video game discussion book club.
So yeah, this is. I mean, we're not, obviously. If you've played this game, you know we're not very far in.
Yeah, this is super early in the game. We just met with the bad guys, or the worst guys, perhaps, I guess. And yeah, we talked to them, and we found out that they're promise-breaking assholes, and they're not going to, and they needed us to like destroy a bunch of medicine in order to,
it's all very confusing.
Or they wouldn't give us. I don't honestly know. It's been a couple of weeks since I last played this game, so whatever. There you go.
Yeah.
I got it on sale a while ago, and played it a little bit with John, and that was about as far as I went. So
Yep.
I do find the zombies in this pretty terrifying.
yeah, they're scary as fuck.
nicely
Like I
terrifying.
cannot deal with most of the zombies in this game. I die very quickly.
No, they're all difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if... Well, it really incentivizes to doing the parkour. And that's actually something that I really appreciate about Dying Light and the way that they handle themselves in this game. It's like...
Oh, yeah, they definitely
You... Like...
spend time.
The zombies are actually a threat. And I think Left 4 Dead and even... I mean, perhaps to a lesser extent, but Dead Island and most other zombie games, like the zombies really are incidental, right? They don't give you a whole lot of trouble. They're there to soak up, to waste your bullets, and to get in your way, and to slowly nickel and dime you until when inevitably you run into something bigger, badder, and meaner, you're going to have a harder time.
Oh yeah, in Left 4 Dead, it was a failure if you got killed by the normal infected.
Yeah, unless you like got boomer barfed on or something like that, right?
Yeah. But I'm a big fan of zombie games, even still.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
As long,
quite a fan.
as long as they keep adding new stuff to them and making them new experiences.
Well, it's a good. The thing is,
Okay.
it's a good trope. It's a familiar trope, so you can pretty much build any kind of game around it. Hence, like
safe.
Plants vs Zombies, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's a safe topic. Everybody gets it.
Yep. Ironically,
It's not
everyone
like
in the real
sci-fi,
world-
which I would love to talk about at some time. We should talk. We've got a coworker at our company who worked on a well-known sci-fi game. I would love to talk to her a little bit more about her experiences in working with a sci-fi game versus like working on a fantasy game, which she also worked on. For matters of like anonymity, until I have her permission to talk about her, I'll leave it at that. But yeah, like fantasy versus sci-fi and genres, and how much does it mean to be a specific type of genre game for video games? Like these are all topics that I would love to kind of get into on Serious Sundays.
Yeah, for sure.
The last thing I'd like to just do with you guys tonight is or I guess these air in the afternoon. So today, we're recording. It's like almost midnight for us. Is favorite zombie game and why? Now I know you're the big zombie guy, John. So let's get you. Let's have you start.
I mean, I gotta give it to Left 4 Dead 2.
Okay, why?
Yeah, and as to why, it's really the co-op.
Okay.
The culmination from Left 4 Dead 1 to Left 4 Dead 2, and that introduction of the co-op aspect to these kinds of games, and to gaming in general, really. Mm-hmm. It's it's a classic. As far as I'm concerned, Left 4 Dead is the
it was a
quintessential
pioneer
zombie
of
video
really
games.
well done 4-player.
So Valve knows what they're doing. Like, yeah. I mean,
Well, yeah. I don't think anybody ever had much reason to dispute that.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's originally and unfortunately the same answer for me. I love that game. I can go back to it anytime.
Yeah.
And have a blast. And I hope that
What about like aside from like replayability and stuff like that? Was there anyone, I don't know, like mechanic, or like was the stories did do something big for you, or was it like a culmination of all the above?
characters were
Like-
great in the single player. The single player was fun. But I mean, that thing, like, it's not a single player game. Like, you can play the campaigns with your friends. And
Yeah, it was a campaign mode, and to be honest, like it was meant to be played multiplayer.
Absolutely.
They just give you the benefit of dealing with bots, right? If you didn't have friends to play with, or your friends were busy,
like,
then you could totally still
those
play
AI
Left
though.
4 Dead.
Fuck
Like,
those AI.
yeah, but even those AI are like kind of charming.
Oh, they are
for their
absolutely
stupidity.
charming.
Like,
Peel's here.
Oh yeah. They make bad decisions, bad life choices.
They do. They make bad life choices, and you spend like half your time going, "Fucking Lewis, fucking Bill, get up." So yeah.
No, Lewis, I'm not going to save you. You brought this on yourself.
I mean,
Jumping in
you've got
front of
no
your
health
bullets,
left, Lewis. But yeah, please go ahead and heal me with your last health.
They did have some AI problems with that game.
Well, I mean, that's always appreciated when you can convince the already badly hurt AIs to heal you.
But I mean, it was just they nailed it. They nailed the campaign mode. They nailed the versus mode, the survival mode. Any kind of gameplay they did was well tested, well thought out, well designed, and well executed.
Yeah, I would agree. The little jokes, the banter, the humor of it.
Yeah.
But I do love me some humor in.
And I mean, it's like compared to this, it looks old and.
Well, I mean, it is. It was really, really nice at the time.
Yeah,
it was.
But I mean, we could do a whole episode, and probably will, on what Left 4 Dead 3 should be, with where I believe they're working on it now.
Well, I mean, yeah, any game with a 3 in the number for Valve, it's a
Valve's not. Yeah,
they don't have a great track. And sorry, Gabe. I know we just added another week, right? But
someone said 3. Add another week.
Yeah, like that said, I think that Left 4 Dead 3 being a co-op a co-op game where that still has relevance, right? It's like, yes, I know that Valve's game team is probably still very devoted to working on Dota 2. Although I mean, I read the Valve company handbook. I know that they work on what they want to work on, right? So hopefully somebody is working on that. You're a koala. Yeah. And kudos to you guys for making an awesome game. I am going to be the odd man out here. I love Left, don't get me wrong. But I continuously fall in love with many new sort of zombie games. And it's lesser known, but people are kind of know about it. And I have a little bit of bias because I kind of sort of know the developers. Like we're Twitter buddies, and we all started in the same game development. But the Indie Stones Project Zomboid.
I've also heard good things.
Yeah, it's an isometric. Insofar as any game that is top down at a 45-degree angle is isometric. Game where you are a survivor, but it's not a first-person game. It is a game where you control somebody as sort of more like a god figure, and they have to just continue to survive and wander around this town in presumably England, because I'm pretty sure that Lemmy and Binky are from England.
Right.
I could be wrong. And like you have to scavenge for food, and you have to either make friends with or avoid other survivors or fight them, obviously. You have to scavenge wood and stuff like that to board up your home. And there was this, and the reason that the game really grabbed me and what I really kind of loved about it was how in the very beginning of the game, the first thing that they do to you, right? The opening sequence is your wife is lying in bed and she's been bitten.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And the entire beginning campaign is you desperately trying to find a way to keep her alive as long as possible.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking. And like people come in there and they're like trying to raid your shit, and it's like, I don't care if you take my stuff, just don't go upstairs. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's good. It's compelling and it's well done.
All right.
And my hat's off to those guys for making a new kind of zombie game, because there's not a whole lot to spin around there. And I had ideas for a zombie game that was not entirely dissimilar to the way they do it, but I iterate certainly. The older fashioned pixel art might not be everybody's style, but people who want to have a different zombie experience, you might want to check it out. Maybe even one of these days we'll do it as a one-off.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's lots of ideas for stuff we could do with zombie games. So.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's just like Plants and Zombies is a game, right? And it's a good game by all rights. Like they didn't need to be zombies, but they were zombies because slow moving, dumb, shambling, just move in a straight line. They're great for tower defense type creeps, right?
Yeah.
And then they moved on to turning into a 3D combat with what are the new Plants vs Zombies games called? I don't know. I have them.
Garden Warfare.
Yeah, Garden Warfare. There you go.
Yeah. And they're kind of fun too. You know, they nailed their aesthetic. Like, it looks great. I'm a big fan.
But obviously, there's a lot more we can say about this. But we've really stretched our time on this one.
We hit the 45-minute mark. It's time to wind it down, guys. But thanks everybody for listening. I know that was kind of just open topic about zombies, but that's how we roll here on Serious Sundays. A lot to say about them. We're going to be back next week with a different topic every time. So I hope that you guys come back and check it out.
Absolutely, and don't be afraid to share your thoughts on any zombie games we missed, and I know we missed. We didn't even give this any thought.
Absolutely, there are so many. There's just so many damn zombie games. It's impossible to list them all. Like, if we were just listing every zombie game that was out there, that would take our entire show, right?
So just throw if we missed your favorite, throw it up there, because we're always open to looking at new stuff. So.
Yeah, and if you hate zombie games, if you're one of those people who think that zombie games are played out,
talk to us so we can rip your argument apart.
Message us and tell us why. Well, I would love to know, like, the reason why, if it's anything aside from, well, there's just too many zombie games.
Yeah, because that doesn't count.
Yeah.
There's also just so many friggin' war games.
Yeah. I mean, that's just hating something because it's too popular. That's a hipster argument. Give us something better. But if you have a different argument than that, if you think that zombies are lazy because, it's just dumb humans, it's a good way to make an extremely simple AI. I mean, hell, in my Thurs devs, I call the simplest form of AI zombie AI, right?
Right.
But that's because it makes sense. That's because it's easy for people to understand. But yeah, tell us why. Tell us why you don't like zombies, or tell us why you do love zombies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking in there, everybody.
Yep.
Oh.
Thanks, all.
Oh. I love you. Oh, brains.
I collected so much stuff.
Bye, guys.
I was afraid to move after a while because I was so choppy.